everyone, and welcome back to another episode of Mia's Creations. So today we're going to be making French macaroons, which I've been long awaited from my cheer team. They love my macaroons, so I thought that I would share them with you guys. So let's go ahead and get started. So the ingredients that you will need for the French macaroons is 1 cup of powdered sugar, 3/4 cup of almond flour, the food coloring of your choice. Today I'm using some blue and green to make a really pretty teal color, 2 room temperature eggs, a pinch of salt, and 1/4 cup of sugar. So let's get started. So the first thing that we are going to do is sift together our powdered sugar and our almond flour. So we're going to take our sifter, and first we are going to be sifting our powdered sugar. And we are going to do the same thing to our almond flour. And then we are going to whisk these 2 ingredients together. And it is very important that we sift our dry ingredients to ensure a smooth top on the macaroons. And we are going to set that off to the side while we make our meringue. And now we are going to crack our 2 eggs into a large bowl, but we only want the whites. What I do is I crack the eggs into the bowl, and then I just gradually use my hands to remove the yolk. The eggshell could possibly break your yolk. Now that we have the egg whites in the bowl, we are going to add a pinch of salt to them to help stabilize them. And then we are going to whip them up until they get nice and frothy. Now we are going to gradually start adding our sugar a little bit at a time. So once you have a stiff peak, then you can stop mixing. Now we are going to add the food coloring, and you can really be creative with this by adding however much food coloring that you would like. By the way, make sure that you are using gel food coloring and not liquid food coloring, because if you use liquid food coloring, then it could fade during the process of baking. And the meringue is done. Now we are going to start the macaronage process, which is where we add the dry ingredients little at a time to our meringue. So we're going to add about that much. You want to start folding the dry ingredients in very gently because you don't want to mix it, or else you could deflate all the beautiful air that we just whipped into our egg whites. This is the part where people usually mess up on macaroons because you can undermix or overmix, and you don't want to do either of those things, because if you undermix, then you'll have big cracks in your macaroons and they won't have feet, which is the little ridges around that macaroon cookie. But if you overmix, then they'll just be flat and they won't have feet either. So we want to make sure that we achieve the perfect consistency for our macaroon batter. Then if you can hold up your spatula and you see the batter flowing down sort of like this, then you're ready to go. Now we are going to transfer the macaroon batter into one of these little squeezy bottles, but if you don't have one of these, then you can just use a Ziploc baggie or a piping bag. So I'm just gonna scoop the batter into this. we are going to start piping out our macarons. So I have a baking mat, but if you don't have a baking mat, then you can just use parchment paper. So I'm just going to squeeze the batter out. So now we have to tap the pan onto the counter to get out any air bubbles. So now we have to let these sit and dry for about 15 to 20 minutes before we bake them off. So these have been drying, and once you can touch them with your finger and they don't stick, then they're ready to bake. The macarons are going to bake at 300 degrees Fahrenheit for about 15 to 18 minutes. So the macarons are ready to come out of the oven. Now we are going to let the macarons cool, and while they cool, we are going to make the vanilla buttercream to go in the middle. So the ingredients that you will need for the vanilla buttercream filling is a half a stick of butter, about a cup of powdered sugar, some milk, and a teaspoon of vanilla extract. So the first thing that we are going to do to make the vanilla buttercream is we are going to cream the butter to get it nice and creamy. And then we're going to slowly start adding our powdered sugar. We are going to add the vanilla and some milk. Here is the finished vanilla buttercream. Now you need to match up your macaroon shells. So take a shell and find which other macaroon shell will match with it. So now we have all of our macaroons, and I unfolded them because one bottom is going to be filled with the buttercream. So I just put my buttercream into a Ziploc bag and I snipped the tip. So now I'm just going to fill all of the macaroons. You want to make it a little bit smaller than the cookie, about that much. So now we are going to sandwich the two macaroons together. And there you go. You have a French macaroon. So now we are going to do this to the rest of our macaroons. And there is all of our finished French macaroons. So everyone, these are the finished French macaroons. These are so delicious because they're nice and chewy on the inside, and the vanilla buttercream filling just puts it over the edge because it makes everything so much better. This is a great recipe if you're trying to challenge yourself, but at the same time, if you want a delicious sweet treat. So let's go ahead and try one. These are really, really good, so I really recommend anyone to make these. I really hope you guys enjoyed this video. I'll see you guys next time on Mia's Creations. Bye!